Hey guys, it's Bunny again with Holly. There's Holly. Hey Holly.
Hello.
Okay, today we're going to talk a little bit about depression because I've been depressed. And when I get depressed, I sort of want to sleep. Although I've been doing really good the last couple of days, I haven't slept. I've been making myself get out. I've been seeing people like you. And Wednesday I saw Amanda, and I've been painting some ceramic eggs and doing things, getting out. I went and got some mulch for Ignacio. So I've been doing things outside the house. But normally when I'm depressed, I would hole up in the house and sleep and basically do nothing. And so I haven't been doing that. And then when it gets a little worse, I sort of cry and get kind of sensitive. So what do you do when you get depressed?
Depressed. Most of the time, most of my emotions come out as anger. It's easier to do. I'll go out and literally weed eat a 5-acre field. Anything to get it out of me. If I'm frustrated or aggravated or have too much on my mind, just anything to escape it. I guess some people would call that self-mutilation. I'm not a cutter, but I can sure cut a field of grass down. I like seeing something productive come out of my overactive mind and energy.
So do you feel like sad and then you go, or do you just feel like uncomfortable emotions?
Sometimes I'm sad. Sometimes it can be from being sad, having my feelings hurt, or, it's a lot on me.
And so you think I'm going to go get the weed eater and I'm going to go...
Yeah, work, yeah. I love to weed eat. Yes, it's exhausting, but it works really great on this, so...
Do you weed the whole field or just the edges of it?
Well, it depends on how bad it is. Depends on how bad it is. Sometimes I'm frustrated more than others, and again, I would call it self-mutilation, just go out and work. But being productive, getting something done, like what you said, getting out to see people instead of staying harbored up, actually getting out. My body's getting exercise. I'm getting some of the frustration out. I'm getting some of the emotion out. Sometimes there's tears. Sometimes, I'm grinding my teeth. Just depends on which extreme I am too. But I don't share the tears with many people, but I do think they're necessary to cleanse the soul. Sometimes it's better to let out and hold everything in.
So you get really upset and then you go to weed eat. While you're weed eating, are you thinking about what's happened or what you're feeling or what you're thinking? Or do you do it as a distraction? You're focused actually on the weed eating?
Distraction.
So you don't think about the thing. So when did the tears come? What's that about? I mean, how did the tears play in? When you start thinking about what's happened, you're crying and weed eating at the same time?
It happens. It has.
And then you think, well, I'm not thinking about that anymore, and you get back to the weed eating. Mm-hmm. And what else do you do besides weed eating?
Oh, I do work. That's it. Usually when I'm bothered, I work. And I do know when I am, I guess as you call it, depressed, I don't want to get out. I don't even want to go work. I want to get up. But I want to wash my hair. I don't want to put my face on. I don't want to socially interact. I do it. And yeah, you have to get past it. You've got to provide, so I've got to get out and do something. But I try to make sure that I have things to do, that I exert enough energy, that I get my night's sleep, and try to take my mind off the things that are going on, and give me time, to grasp perspective, because I like to analyze it in a bunch of different levels. I'm a woman. We do that.
So you force yourself through the depression and go ahead and make yourself do the things that you need to be doing? Even when you don't want to wash your hair, you're like, I've got to go ahead and face the world and get a shower and...
Yes.
Wow. Now see, that's amazing, because a lot of people really can't. They get to the point that it's just almost impossible to do that.
I found that, I think if I didn't have my kids, there would probably it'd be a lot harder on me. But I don't solely focus on me. I chose to have children, and I no longer belong to me. I have to come to them first. I have to be, I have to make sure that they're okay. And I'll be all right as long as they're okay.
Because I remember, especially when my depression was really bad, it could almost swallow me up. It could swallow me up. I would just... It was like being in a gray cloud. That's what it felt like. It was like I was in a fog of gray, and it would just swallow me up, and I would just go to my bed and think, I'll stay here until it goes away. And I had a psychiatrist who said nobody gets better staying in bed. And maybe that's true. Maybe nobody does get better, but it seems like a hell of a start. but
Worth a shot.
It doesn't seem to get better. And when I would get out of bed, the same problems were still there facing me.
Mm-hmm.
So if I can get out, and I know that there's a thing called the feeling, thoughts, and action triangle, and if you have the either feeling, action, or thoughts, the depressing thoughts, and if you have the action that goes with that, which would be sleeping or whatever, if you can change that action to a different action, an action that goes with a different thought, like let's say your physical action, which is, I've got to get this work done, or I've got to, get the yard done, or whatever. That goes with a productive thought. That changes those feelings.
Mm-hmm.
So you're actually living the example of the thought, feeling, action triangle in action. And if you can change those thoughts, it will change your feelings. It will change. And I've tried to do that. My best thing is when I'm depressed, if I can just make myself take a bubble bath. Because I have learned that I have never, ever, ever gotten out of a bubble bath feeling worse than when I went in. Ever. Mm-hmm. Ever. Never has anything bad ever happened to me in a bubble bath. Mm. I mean, seriously, I have never had a bad bubble bath. It has never happened. The only thing I can imagine that would ever go wrong in a bubble bath is if like an electric appliance fell in. Yeah. Yeah. And that's never happened. So that's my go-to, because I can't always muster enough energy to make myself actually get out of the house like you can. I don't have that in me. But I can get enough strength to go to the bathroom, and if I can get enough strength to go to the bathroom, then all I have to do is turn the water on. Mm-hmm. And once I'm sitting there on the side of the tub with the water running, yes, I can pour in the bubbles, okay? Once I've got that far, all I have to do is actually get myself in there, and that's the beginning of the end. Once I get out, I feel better than I ever did going in. And that lifts me up, and then I'm like, okay, I did this, I can put some lotion, and for me that's self-care. Mm-hmm. Putting the lotion on, and then I'm like, okay, I'll put on some clean clothes. Mm-hmm. Okay, I start feeling a little better, little by little, those little actions start lifting my spirits one by one, little by little. And I mean, they're just little tiny baby steps, but I feel a little bit better than I did, an hour before.
Any forward progress is amazing progress. Yeah. I've even told my daughters, there are some days if all you did was breathe, you're on your path, and sometimes it takes it does. Sometimes you just have to back up and punt. You've got to back up, take that breath, and get a handle on it. But just those little bitty steps to get you in that direction of getting out of whatever's already in your mind, and clearing those thoughts, or giving more perspective to that thought, and seeing that it's not that small little tunnel you thought it was. It's like, this is broader than what I thought. This is good. This is not all that bad. I was just saying just this part.
Just giving it some time.
Up. Yeah.
To realize it's not going to consume you like you thought it was. Yeah, sometimes just a little space makes you realize, again, it's perspective. We talked about perspective the other day.
We did.
It just changes your perspective and realize, you know what, this isn't as devastating as I thought that it was going to be. It's,
True.
maybe not as. I do remember one time, it was with my ex-boyfriend. I liked, and I probably still like, to be in control of everything. But I used to be really, really bad. Maybe now I'm just really bad. But I was really, really bad, and he opened a bar of soap one time, and it wasn't the bar of soap that I wanted opened, and it wasn't like he had asked my permission to open that bar of soap, and I got really upset. And I mean, I went on a tirade, pitching a fit about the fact that he had opened that bar of soap, and what was he thinking, and that was the wrong bar of soap, and why was he opening the soap anyway, and I pitched this big, big fit, and then I stopped and I thought, I got in the shower, that's how I'd found that he'd opened the wrong bar of soap, and I thought, really, was it worth all that? Was that really over a bar of soap? Was it worth all that, 20 minutes of yelling and screaming and pitching a big fit? And that's when I realized that sometimes in the heat of the moment, things seem a lot bigger than they really are, because it was a bar of soap, man. Just chill out a little bit. And so, yeah, sometimes if you can step back and take a breather, then you realize it's a bar of soap,
I agree.
Chill out.
I have those too, and I think some of those come from suppressing other issues. Whether it be somebody taking your shampoo, your conditioner, and then you don't speak your piece simply to say, do you mind being respectful, and you let it go. And I guess the straw that broke the camel's back,
Oh, when you finally let it build up, and then it explodes.
It does, and I'm bad for that. I'll hold a lot of things in, suppress them, put them off, hide them, whatever, and
I never do that.
one hair out of place, and the world's coming to an end. That's it. It's over. It's done. We're through. And then again, just like the bar of soap, I'm like, one hair. What's this? Oh, really? All right. I got this. I got to regroup. Let me gather my little emotions back in here and act like somebody.
I used to do that with the drivers. People would cut me off or whatever, and I would get road rage. Now I'm like, really, you're in that much of a hurry? And it was yesterday. Yesterday, a car was behind me at a light. We were stopped, and it turned green. And they honked the very second it turned green. And instead of going, I looked in the mirror and I said, if you're in that big of a hurry, why didn't you just go around me? And so they did. They busted a gut and went around me, right?
Well.
So we both made our left-hand turns. They're in the other lane, and at the next red light, guess what? They were right beside me, and I thought, well, I'm glad you were in such a hurry. Here we are together again.
Yeah, it's nice to see you again.
Well, then at the very next red light, it was the same guy, and I'm like, yeah, you were in such a hurry, and here we are again. And I think to myself sometimes when people are like that, I'm like, I don't know what you're in such a hurry about, but get along with your bad self if you're in that big of a hurry. But it used to upset me. I was like, why'd you cut me off? Or why are you in such a big hurry? Or whatever. And I'm just like, if you're in that big of a hurry, get on. Maybe you should have left home about 5 minutes earlier.
Exactly.
But it doesn't upset me as much as it used to. But it used to be a big thing.
I guess, and I'll roller coaster with that. Some days, depending on what's already stacked up in there. That one person that'll get in front of you that's doing 20 and a 60, and you're like, come on now, let's go. Or somebody that is right behind you, flying up on you, and you're already doing 5, 10, maybe 15 over the speed limit, and you're like, seriously, I'm already speeding. You don't need to go any faster. Or okay, let me move, because obviously you should have left sooner. Your day's worse than mine.
Yeah, I'm just like, go around in that big of a hurry. But that's our little talk about depression, so I hope you're not depressed today. And if you are, take a bubble bath or go weed eat. That's our advice to you. Either weed eat or
weed eat
and then take a bubble bath.
One extreme to the other, work gets done, and As long as it makes you feel better.
You could weed eat and then take the bubble bath, and then you definitely feel better, right? That's a
Yes.
win-win.
Yes. Without a doubt.
Have a good day, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.